So here it is, the number one mistake clinic owners are making with their hiring. I'm Shane Gunaratnam, and I'm about to talk to you about why waiting until you feel safe to hire is a mistake. It's the number one mistake, because often what ends up happening is you are already exhausted and your team is already exhausted. Your revenue has been building for weeks and weeks, and it started to plateau. You've hit the top of that mark, and you've likely missed some really good candidates because you've been holding back, waiting for the right time. So often is the case that the right time for your practice is not the right time for the best people in the market. And we really need to have a think about how those two things interrelate. Now, the reason this fails is because as a team, as a unit, the workload often just starts going up, and people get busier. And this is actually where the seeds of a lot of clinician burnout occurs. If you think about it, your average clinician might be doing 45 to 50 appointments per week. If suddenly they're doing 55 to 60 just to keep up with demand, they are working well above their chronic workload. That spike can be maintained for maybe 3 or 4 weeks before they start to get very fatigued and the seeds of burnout start to show. If we miss that growth window, it tends to close. And the most frustrating thing is, if we've been through a really busy period, that's often when some of your A players go, you know what, this is too hard. I don't like doing this job, when suddenly there's so much being demanded of me. And it only takes one of those people to fall over after that peak period for you to be going from hiring to grow your team into hiring to replace a key team member. And that's the problem I see time and time again. The best way to model when to hire people is thinking in peaks and troughs. There are some really classic trough periods. I think we're all aware. Christmas, New Year, most of January, even early Feb, it tends to be a very, very slow time for the majority of clinics with their new patients. On the contrary, months like May, months like October, these are absolute peak times. There's no public holidays. There are no school holidays, and people tend to be around a lot. We want to have staff hitting our teams when we're about to hit those peak moments. And that's a really key thing in order to get them growing, to get new practitioners growing quickly and efficiently. Now, the biggest myth I see is that you should wait until you are 90% utilized. I'm sorry, but that is too late. You are waiting too late to get your next team member in, and you are literally understaffed at that point. No clinician I know likes to be 90% busy. And like I was saying earlier, they just start running into their red zone. With some foresight, with some planning, these are the exact things I do with my private clients, by the way. We sit down and we look at where you're at today and where your growth is coming. And so often it's a case of going, right, we need to pull the trigger on hiring because we're about to hit peak utilization in a couple of months' time. The other thing we need is to just have confidence in the systems themselves. You can generate new leads, new clients beyond simply word of mouth referrals coming into the practice. So instead of waiting too late to hire and being fearful and trying to hold on to everything until it's about to explode, we need to take calculated risks. Every new hire is a risk, but the biggest risk is choosing not to grow when the opportunity is there. When the upside outweighs the downside, i.e., we can move up another level as a business if we get the right person in ahead of a busy period, that's a massive, massive signal that says, let's get you going. And the most important thing, regardless of when you hire, is to back yourself to get busier and have systems in place that support this. Be confident in your lead generation. Be confident going out to source new referrers and get those things happening efficiently. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Check out the link in the first comment as well. And I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.